Did you know that on November 2nd, 1932, Elmer and Catherine Brown, up in upstate New York, gave birth to my father. And 203 miles away, 6 days later, Elmer and Emily Esty gave birth to my mother.
I had a speech already, but I forgot. I love this lady. 63 years. We've been married 67 years. We put those two together and they get 90, but my life didn't begin until we got married. Well, she asked me to tell you the truth, but I gotta go.
What would you say is the main thing that has kept y'all's marriage so strong?
Good question. I think we love each other and have for a long time, long time.
We keep open communication. We don't hide things from each other.
Right.
And sometimes that's not fun, but we do. Otherwise, it's deception. So we still have arguments and stuff like that.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Well, we've been married 67 years, so that's, so, yeah.
8 months and 3 weeks, Jim was born. And some of our friends were thinking, hey, what's going on here? Talk to Lois, I don't know. 2 years later, Jules was born, my daughter Jules. 2 or 3 years later, Steve was born.
In France.
In France, at an Air Force hospital. Now here's a little story.
We're in our early 20s. The kids were like this, 2 kids. Third one was born over there. And
He's the cook tonight, the one that's, yeah, our younger son.
Yeah.
We were at a little base. It was an Air Force base called Orly Field. It was before Orly became the main airport for Paris. And we were there 2 years, and then 2 years later, the next 2 years we were in Munich. You know, it was a fluke that we even did this overseas tour. I taught school outside of Syracuse,
New York. Yeah.
New York, and this man who was a parent of one of my students came in, and he's all dressed up in his uniform, and he was a colonel. I thought, what the heck's going on here? So anyway, he said to me after we got pretty well done, he said, Mr. Brown, you ever thought about teaching overseas? And I said, teaching overseas? What are you talking about? He says, well, you know, we have all these American families,
Yep.
therefore we need American schools, therefore we need American teachers. When I went home and said something to Lois, she says,
go.
where do we sign?
What is your favorite memory from living overseas?
Going to shows and going to the opera, things like that, where things that we hadn't done before in the States.
Right.
So that was, yeah, that was very memorable. When we saw President Kennedy in the capital of West Germany, we were as close as I am to you. So that was, and he was in a motorcade,
Right, yeah.
you know, and he was waving to us. So that was good.
We were on our way to Bremerhaven to the ship to go back to the States. And the people where we stayed, sort of like a B&B, said, don't you want to see your president? He'll be here tomorrow. Oh, sure. Sure. So we stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we saw the president.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was handsome and tan, and that's what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were many memorable things, but that was certainly one of them.
There are a bajillion words to tell about Mom and Dad. Obviously, you all have your own story that you could tell. But these 2 words that I came up with are togetherness and others. When you get married, the 2 will become one. And they are one. They have always been together. And as a kid, I used to think, wow, these guys are always together. They served in many capacities in their local churches, Orrin Church for years, and then Wekiva. They have sung in choirs, I think over 65 years. They started the HB Company and became regular flea market people. They volunteered in and raised money for Lots Creek School down in Kentucky, KVAC, after Jim got sick. Adult literacy, many of you might know that Mom worked with a woman named Minnie Mae and others for many years. Loaves and Fishes, one of their dearest and most devout organizations, and others. They attended professional baseball games, and that's where Mom learned to keep score because she wanted to be with Dad. The other word is others, and that's where all of us come in. The Bible says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. It's from New Testament Philippians, and that's really what they do. For as long as we can remember, we Browns, Mom and Dad, as individuals and then also as a unit, have put others first. They talk to strangers all the time, like they know them. You know, both of them. They just talk to strangers. It could be in a restaurant, it could just be on the street, it could be on a cruise, but in particular is if somebody's looking low and needing a little boost in life, and they come along and they talk to them. They love telling all of us that we are important and that we are loved dearly. So, as Mom has already said, you are all here because you have a very special relationship with Mom and Dad. And please know that you are dearly loved. Maya Angelou said, I have learned that people will forget what you said. I have learned that people will forget what you did. But, say it with me, people will never forget how you made them feel.
Gigi, this is my big question for you. What advice would you give to your 45-year-old self? So cut 90 in half.
I would say for years I was sure I was not good enough or not sure enough of myself.
Yeah.
And I went through a lot of time thinking that.
Yeah.
And it's so false.
It's a hard
It was
thing to
tough.
hear
And
every day.
I think I would say to myself, just go for it. You're okay.
Yeah.
You are okay.
I love that.
Because I spent a lot of time thinking I wasn't.
Yeah.
You know?
Thanks for sharing that, Graham. Yeah.
Thank you, Becker.
Yeah. What would you tell me at 45?
Just live your life the way you feel you want to live your life, and don't be influenced by too many other people and their views.
Or situations.
You're an intelligent, beautiful lady,
Oh, you are, Becker.
and you could do what you are.
I think I'm doing that so far.
I hope you are.
I think you are. Yeah.
I had something else to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know how I feel. But there was a young lady who joined our choir, our church choir. Nice soprano voice. And Lois was singing soprano, so they were sitting sort of near each other. This young lady said to me, Jim, what's the secret? I knew what she meant. I just went like this. She said, I know. I know. And that's the way it was.
It's perfect.
All right, that's enough of that.
What is your secret to having such a wide variety of dear friends?
Well, one thing is we're so old. We've met a lot of people.
One of our first arguments, Lois said, okay, we're going to call him Stephen.
Yes.
So I went down to the lady and said, my wife wants to spell Stephan.
Ian.
Ian. Well, no wonder I got it wrong. All right. So the lady was a French lady, and she said, no, monsieur, that's a female name. I said, well, what's it supposed to be? She says, T-E-V-E-N. I said, okay. That was the easy part, right? The hard part was telling Lois. You know, that was the first time I had that silent treatment.
What was your favorite meal on Etsy Road?
My mother was not a very good cook.
Come on in, Mom. We're just talking about you.
She wasn't.
And she's the one that's wrong, of course, right? So, what? Somebody had a comment over there?
Be careful.
Oh.
We have a t-shirt for you. It says, I'm wrong again, right?
Which has been your most romantic trip or cruise that you guys have been on?
Oh, boy,
Well, wait a minute. That's kind of private, isn't it? The big thing was Saturday night movies. Honest to God.
The show would
Honest to
change
God.
every 3 days.
Yeah,
The
right.
movie would change.
right next to the theater was a little fur store, and I was a gopher in the fur store.
So you wore a gopher outfit?
No, I didn't.
Were you like?
No, I felt like it, but no. Can you go do this, Jim? Can you go do this, Jim? Yeah.
Oh, the
Gopher.
Yeah.
Go for it.
The gopher. Yeah. And we still enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, well, yeah,
within reason,
yeah.
right?
On certain days, right?
On certain days.
Yeah.
It was time for retirement. So somebody said, "Oh man, we can retire," and she said, "I'm going to Florida." She said, "You want to come?" And I said, "Well, wait a minute. I got Syracuse football, I got Syracuse baseball, and what am I supposed to do?" She says, "Well, think about it because we're leaving in 2 days."